Imagine an industry where you write the product for free, your peers do the quality control for free, and then the distributor turns around and sells your work back to you for thousands of dollars. That is the traditional academic publishing model. To make the economics even stranger, the original research wasn't free to produce. The vast majority of these scientific studies are funded by the public through taxpayer money. In the late 20th century, commercial publishers began buying up university presses. They steadily increased the subscription prices for physical academic journals, triggering what became known as the serials crisis, a period where university libraries simply couldn't afford to keep up with the exorbitant costs of acquiring scholarly literature. This chart compares the profit margins of massive tech and pharmaceutical giants like Apple and Pfizer with traditional academic publishers. In the early 2000s, publishers like Elsevier were reporting profit margins of nearly 40%, pulling in billions of dollars by appropriating public funds from universities. Then, the internet arrived. Suddenly, anyone with a connection could publish information and share it globally. The actual physical cost of distribution effectively dropped to zero. The web exposed the reality of the situation. Commercial academic publishers were no longer necessary distributors of physical paper. They were acting as toll booths, extracting massive profits by restricting access to human knowledge. In 1991, physicist Paul Ginsberg launched Archive. It was a simple online repository where scientists began quietly self-archiving their raw pre-publication papers, bypassing the traditional physical printing process entirely. This practice became the foundation of green open access. Under this model, researchers still publish their final papers in traditional subscription-based journals, but they also deposit a free digital copy into a public archive for anyone to read. What started as quiet archiving organized into a focused political movement in 2002. The Budapest Open Access Initiative drafted a formal declaration uniting these researchers and officially giving this practice a new name: open access. The frustration eventually boiled over into collective action. During the 2012 Cost of Knowledge campaign, thousands of mathematicians and scientists signed a pledge refusing to write or peer review for commercial publishers. By organizing online and sharing their work freely, academics proved they possessed the tools to distribute their findings without relying on traditional commercial publishers. Seeing their control slipping, traditional publishers realized they needed to pivot. They introduced a new business model, which came to be known as gold open access. This flowchart demonstrates how the gold model works. The published article is completely free for the public to read, but to cover the lost subscription revenue, the publisher requires the author, or their university, to pay a massive article processing charge. These charges aren't trivial, often running into the thousands of dollars. This immediately created a new barrier. Researchers in the Global South, or scholars in traditionally underfunded fields, simply cannot afford the fees required to share their work. Gold Open Access successfully removed the paywall for readers, but erected a new paywall for authors. Commercial profits remained intact, while less funded researchers were effectively priced out of publishing. Frustrated with compromised models and the slow pace of change, major international funding bodies and governments decided to step in and force the issue. In Europe, a group of leading national research councils formed Coalition S. They launched Plan S in 2018, requiring that any research funded by their member organizations be made immediately available in open access, without any embargo periods. The United States followed with its own top-down action. In 2022, the White House issued the Nelson Memo, mandating that all federally funded research publications be made freely available to the public without delay by the end of 2025. These mandates shifted open access from a grassroots academic request into a strict legal requirement. If you want the grant money, your research has to be open. As mandates push the industry forward, a new standard has emerged as the ideal state of the movement: Diamond Open Access. Diamond Open Access platforms are community-owned and academic-led. As this network model shows, multiple academic institutions pool their resources to collectively fund the publishing infrastructure. The result is a system where articles are free to read and authors pay zero fees to publish. This model is already working. Platforms like the Open Library of Humanities successfully operate on this system, and the 2023 Global Diamond Summit demonstrated serious international alignment to scale it up. The original intent of public research funding was never to generate massive profit margins for a handful of corporate distributors. It was to advance our collective understanding of the world. The 30-year history of open access is a fight over who gets to own that understanding. It is an ongoing battle to ensure that the sum of human knowledge belongs to humanity, not to shareholders.